So that was Drummond's house. So this church, last night was where we first preached, when we first came. Then the second church was Bob Rogers' church, the Evangel. And then Drummond was the one that basically was going to help me to get my green card and stuff like that. He's the one that gave me the credit card when I landed. So this is where he ran his whole worldwide native evangelism. He had Deeper Life Christian Bookstore. That's where my credit card was on. And this was his church over here, which he actually extended. We had a revival in here. This place is jammed. I think I crammed 800 people in this. We ran 4 weeks, first 4-week revival ever in America happened here. And that happened in 1991 in the month of February. And my mother, that was the first time that I started taking my own offerings, paying my own way. And then the ministry started to grow. So, I mean, there were weeks where 2 meetings a day, Sunday to Friday, $5,000, even with the place packed. So, you know, that's just how it was in those days. So this is the Deeper Life Christian Bookstore. Deeper Life Church. The studio is here. I made first television programs here. I'm sure they'll get to see it on their Vivid. They'll wonder, who were these people walking around the church?
Yeah.
1991, my mother got touched by the fire right here. That's when Mom got touched.
Yes.
So we lived here. We moved here in 1988, 89. But we were traveling so much by then, by 1990, that we gave up the apartment. We just had storage places. So then we had no reason to get a place to stay. And so we just would go to Florida in December and stay the month in Florida, and then just keep hitting the road. So we would come back to Louisville to preach and go check in storage to see what we needed for the kids. But it was pointless getting a place to stay because we were never here. But then I put my mom and dad here, and I put the couple that were running the office, and I had offices here in town. And so they were here then, 1990, 1991, 92. I started in my camp meetings. 93, did the big one, where actually was in the side of the convention center, see about 1,500. And 94, we had 7,000 people. And that's where the 5 P's of the Bible come from, Louisville, downtown. And then, but by then I was already transitioning out of here. And so then 94, 95, we started making that transition. We then moved to Hidden River Parkway, where the offices were right off of the I-75. And it was called Hidden River Parkway. And I had all my corporate offices, moved everybody down. And then I was sitting there one day and I said, the river will come. Of course, this is Hidden River. The river will come. We start the 1st of December, 96 in the Sunday. And then the rest is history from there. So this is where for me, the first extended meeting took place. And this is from February of 91 was where I paid all my own way and received my own offerings, which was a big thing for them because they'd never done that before. They just give you whatever. So I mean, you could preach a whole Sunday, get $500. You never, you know. This way now I could believe God and then begin to pay my own staff and pay my own way, you know. So 91, trying to remember what it was. I think the income was about 600,000. 92 went over 1.6 million. 93 went to 4.6 million, and then it never looked back. It just never looked back. But those early years, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, there were days I'd drive around the city, didn't even know how, what am I going to do? You know, you're talking about, you know.
Yeah.
I lived like that. That was the whole thing. Just like, I know, Lord, you call me, I understand, but there's some things I don't understand, you know, but just keep being faithful, you know, keep your attitude right, just keep ministering. Like last night, place was packed. That would be at the end of 4 weeks, it would be like that. But for the most time, 40, 50 people in the morning, 100 people at night. And if you thought some things were strange, you ain't seen strange till you minister around into way out little podunk corner, whatever. I mean, the one time I showed up at the church, there were more people on my team that was in the church. Oh, there Richard, come tell people what happened to you. 1990. And Brother Richard Morris and Dad, Richard, come tell the people what happened to you. And he was like 23, 24. I'm 27, 28.
Yes.
This here was the site of the first apartment that we actually moved in back 1988, January 1988. This is where Donica and I lived, 6912, right over here. And Donica, 3 kids. And this is where they used to walk out here to go to the laundromat. When you walk over here, these are the pipes that Kenneth thought were huge tunnels. So we moved in here, we were here 88, 89, and then we were starting to travel so much, so we actually moved, we let the apartment go, and we just basically would spend the month of December down in Orlando. That's where we chilled out. And then we never got an apartment again. We did get storage places, and then the only reason we came back to Louisville was to come and to get stuff from the storage place for the kids. But other than that, by that time we were already transitioning, and then 93, the big meeting in Lakeland, 94, 93 we got a house down there. And then 93 we started building our house, 94 we moved into it, and then we moved the offices from here down to Tampa, and the rest is history. But this was the first apartment that we had. There's actually 4 apartments in there, so it was the back apartment. But can you imagine the Donica walking? Imagine the Donica walking with the 3 kids. Kenneth's like 8, 9 months, 10 months. He thinks those are big tunnels. You know what I'm saying? Imagine a little kid, he thinks these are giant tunnels. Then this was the back.
You have your own green dumpster too.
We got green dumpster. And so it was on the drum pole, right, kid? Yeah.
Great, man.
This is all shit of it. No different to him and his wife leaving the mansion, going into the
Inner city.
inner city, eh?
And I had a dumpster just like that.
So I was
You had a dumpster too? I didn't know you had a dumpster right out from your place.